Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies as we continue with part 13, John Frederick Helvetius, from Orders of the Great Work by Manly P. Hall. John Frederick Helvetius. In 1667, John Frederick Helvetius, at that time practicing medicine in The Hague, published a short alchemical tract which he titled Vitalis Aureus, or the Golden Calf. Helvetius, who had been seriously slighted by the biographers, was physician to the Prince of Orange, and Cayet suggests that his true name was Schweitzer. He was born about 1625 and died in Holland in 1709. There is an early portrait of this learned doctor which presents him as a puritanical-looking person, definitely not handsome, but with the air of a man of solid religious principles. Dr. Helvetius appeared to be the only student of alchemy to record a personal visit from Elias the Artist, and it is on this account that the good doctor is most frequently mentioned. The circumstances are so extraordinary, and the report is so evidently sincere as to require detailed examination. Dr. Ferdinand Mach had compiled a list of references to Elias the Artist, which appeared in alchemical writings between 1750 and 1780. Dr. Mack found no reference to Elias the Artist prior to Paracelsus. After him, Alexander von Sutten and Basil Valentin mentioned this Elias who is to come. In one place, Paracelsus, speaking of vitriol, adds, "What is small and humble, God has revealed, but the more important is still in the dark, and shall remain so until the arrival of Elias Artista." There is also a prophetic statement in these same writings. "One shall come after me whose splendor is not yet in this life, and who shall reveal much." In the section of the physical tincture, Paracelsus dwells at some length on the same theme. Nothing is concealed that shall not be revealed. There are many more secrets concerning the transmutation, though they are little known, for if they are revealed to someone, their fame is not immediately common. With this art, the Lord bestows the wisdom to keep it secret until the advent of Elias Artista. Then shall be revealed what has been concealed. Elias the Artist, or Elias Artista, appears with sufficient frequency in the first cycle of Rosicrucian literature to deserve some consideration. He will be mentioned again later in this work, and his place in the descent of the esoteric tradition further considered. This Elias is Elijah, the prophet Tishbe, who was fed by ravens. Most important, he ascended to heaven in a chariot of fire, leaving his mantle to Elisha. He was associated with miracles and magic, and he emerged in early Jewish folklore as a culture hero. Like all such heroes, he takes on the attributes of adeptship. Julius Wellhausen, the German biblical scholar, wrote of Elijah, "In solitary grandeur did this prophet tower conspicuously over his time. Legend and not history could alone preserve the memory of his figure. What better symbol could be advanced to conceal the proportions of the hermetic adept than the dim, uncertain shadow of the magician prophet who walked with God without the mystery of death?" A work attributed to Elias Artista on the transformation of metals appeared in 1612, but the later writers appear to be considerably indebted to the brief reference in the works of Paracelsus. Albert Coyet notes of this hermetic Elias, "This person is not always a distinguished author as one could believe. In general, he is believed to be the reincarnation of the prophet Elijah, prophesied by the Brothers of the Rosy Cross, who, as we know, did not die but ascended to heaven in a chariot of fire. This reincarnation has been the subject of numerous works of alchemy. It appears to me from the treatment of the subject that a reappearance rather than a reincarnation is implied. Elijah, carried into the presence of the mystery of God, was to reappear at a certain time accompanied by signs and wonders. It was the burden of the Rosicrucian manifestos that the hour of the universal reformation had struck. There were portents in the heavens. The old prophecies were fulfilled, and the coming Elias the Artist might reasonably be expected. Thus, Elias appears as the personification of the esoteric tradition and its adepts. References to Elias the Artist divide into two definite groupings. According to one, he is the personification of a time and a circumstance, a symbol of the ripeness of an age. He is the great day to come when all secrets shall be brought to light, and things now rooting in the dark earth shall come forth to full growth and flower and bear a treasure, which is for the healing of the nations. Accordingly to the other, Elias is a definite person, and Paracelsus seems to take this attitude when he says that Elias is not yet in this life. Elias thus becomes a John the Baptist, heralding the advent of the Golden Age. The Elias Artist shall restore the true, spagyric medicine of the old Egyptian philosophy which was lost over 1,000 years ago. He shall bring it with him and show it to the world. Dr. Glauber, 1604 through 1668, enriched the sciences with several original discoveries, the most popular of which was sodium sulfate, a cathartic, often called Glauber's salt in his honor. Glauber's devotion to his salt was as devout as was Bishop Berkeley's affection for his tar water. Even Elias the Artist becomes involved in the miraculous remedy. Glauber's reasoning is most ingenious. If you transpose the letters of Elias, they make the word Celia. Also out of the word Elisa, you can make Celia. These two words signify that to the philosophers, Elias Artista means the uncommon, and to the world still unknown, Celia, through which great and unbelievable things can be accomplished. When the secrets of the Celia are someday known to the world, then without doubt great changes will take place in the world. Great things shall be accomplished through that to the world unknown Celia Artist, in Philosophia, Alchema, and Medicina, Secretoria. In the Turba Philosopherus, it is clearly indicated that Elias Artista is to be considered as the Sal Artist. It has been said that Glauber, belonging to that group, which was breaking away from the spiritual side of alchemy, to him and to most who came after, alchemical symbolism was merely a blind to conceal the working principles of physical chemistry. His interpretation of Elias Artista is distinctly in the spirit of the moderns. On the 27th day of December 1666, a stranger knocked at the door of the house of Johann Frederick Helvetius. The doctor described his visitor as a small, slender man with a long, somewhat scarred face, straight black hair, clean-shaven, and apparently in his middle 40s. This certain man wore the plain, simple dress of a rustic, and particular mention is made of his muddy boots. Dr. Helvetius was of the opinion that his visitor was a native of North Holland. The rustic-looking person, after a most civil salutation, chid the doctor for a tract which he had written expressing certain doubts and reservations about the mysteries of higher alchemy. The 5 golden medals of Elias Artista. These are exactly as described by Helvetius, except that the inscriptions have been translated into English. In the privacy of Helvetius' study, the strange guest took from his belongings a cunningly worked ivory box, which contained 3 large pieces of a substance resembling pale yellow glass, explaining that with this amount of the philosopher's stone, he could transmute 20 tons of base metals into pure gold. Later, from an inner breast pocket of his coat, the stranger drew forth 5 massive gold medals wrapped in a green silk handkerchief. These were inscribed with mystical words of adoration, and on one medal it said, "I am made the 26th of August, 1666. In the house of Helvetius, this adept performed the transmutation and presented his host with a tiny grain of glass-like stone. With this minute particle, Helvetius himself transmuted metals in the presence of witnesses. He was visited on 2 occasions by the adept, who then disappeared from the community and was never seen again. In his Vitulus Aureus, Helvetius states definitely that the rustic with the muddy boots was Elias the Artist. A considerable part of the Vithulus Aureus is devoted to a dialogue between Helvetius and Elias. It is unnecessary for our purposes to publish the full account, so we will digest those parts in which Elias speaks of himself or of matters relevant. The Adepts said that he was a close student of nature's secret and delighted in the company of those of similar aim. He was not a physician, but a brass founder, who from earliest age had been devoted to the secret quality of metals. The universal medicine is called by the Adepts the great mystery of nature. It does not lengthen life, but permits those who possess its power to complete the full term of their days, which is far longer than most realize. Elias kept the 5 metals in memory of his own master, for he in turn had been instructed by a certain stranger, both in the philosophy and practice of the art. No torture or bribery could induce him to reveal the secret, yet he had given it to but one other person, an old, good man. Elias read but few books, but recommended the study of Sandovogus. He then addressed Helvetius thus: "If you find grace in the sight of God, he will commission either me or some other adept of our art to unfold to you the right way of destroying the outward body of metals and seizing the inward vital life-giving soul." Helvetius concluded the account of his experience in these words: "Thus I have unfolded to you the whole story from beginning to end. The gold I still retain in my possession, but I cannot tell you what has become of the artist Elias. Before he left me on the last day of our friendly intercourse, he told me that he was on the point of undertaking a journey to the Holy Land. May the holy angels of God watch over him wherever he is, and long preserve him as a source of blessing to Christendom." Buckstorm's diary extracted several formulas relating to antimony from the edition of the chemical writings of von Sutten published in Frankfurt in 1680, included as a reference to an adept named Bayreuth, who discussed the processes with Dr. Helvetius at The Hague. Dr. Helvetius is quoted as saying, "Elias the Artist has confirmed me in the opinion of Paracelsus that by metals, through metals, and out of metals spiritualized and well purified, the living sulphate god or tincture for human and metallic bodies must be obtained." Buckstorm notes that Elias the Artist personifies the spirit of life and the secret of fire. The unknown author of the following refers briefly to Elias the Artist, the adept, as a great friend of Bacon Emanuel Swedenborg. Elias deposited with Swedenborg more than 3 million francs worth of gold bars and ingots in the Bank of Habsburg, and the registry of this bank has witnessed to the occurrence. So the mystery grows, and Elias the Artist remains the most spectacular of the elusive adepts of the Hermetic tradition. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.